My God, I hate drugs.
Ang paghalik na yan ni Pangulo Duterte sa Pilipinang may asawa sa South Korea, pinag-usapan at humati sa opinyon ng maraming Pinoy. May bumatiko sa Pangulo, pagpapakita daw ito ng mababang tingin sa babae, meron ding nagtanggol sa kanya. Kabilang na riyan si Mocha Uson na nag-share ng isang video sa kanyang Facebook page. Ang caption, "Ano ang masasabi ninyo dito?" Pinakita sa video ang paghalik ni Duterte sa Pilipina at ikinumpara ito sa video ng paghalik ng ilang babae kay Senador Ninoy Aquino habang sakay ng eroplano pauwi ng Pilipinas mula Amerika. Ito yung video na kuha bago siya binaril sa tarmac ng Manila International Airport noong August 21, 1983. Kung masagwa raw ang paghalik ni Duterte sa Pinay sa Korea, ang paghalik daw ba ng mga Pinay kay Ninoy? Hindi. May tanong pang, paki-explain sa dulo. Ang post na ito ni Uson umabot na sa 805,000 views. Ang anak ni Ninoy, ang aktres na si Kris Aquino, umalma. Sa magkakasunod na post sa Twitter, sinabi ni Kris na marami na raw siyang pinalagpas kahit na binalahura ni Uson ang pagkatao ng kanyang pamilya. Nang mapanood daw niya ang pinost ni Uson, sinariwa daw ni Uson ang sugat ng paslangin ang kanyang ama. Nainggit daw si Kris sa dalawang babaeng nakahalik pa sa kanyang ama bago siya pinatay. Bagay daw na hindi binigay sa kanyang inang si dating Pangulong Kris Aquino na wala raw tigil na binabastos ni Uson. Sabi pa ni Kris, nangako raw siya noon na hindi niya papatulan si Uson, pero sumobra na raw ito ngayon. Kung may nais daw gawing punching bag si Uson, siya na lang daw dahil buhay pa siya at kaya niyang sagutin si Uson. Huli niyang linya, hindi kita uurungan.
President Rodrigo Duterte is bringing home billions of pesos in investments and loans from South Korea. The president assures South Korean businessmen who he appeared before that the money will not be lost to corruption. Mr. Duterte also tells them they will be safe in the country. In late 2016, Korean businessman Ji Ik-ju was kidnapped and killed, allegedly by policemen posing as anti-drug operatives right inside Camp Krame. He's the president in his own words.
And I would like to assure you, there will be law and order. I will not promise you anything, but I will force the issue with everybody. It's either you stop it, and I will allow the human rights to continue shouting. But I cannot compromise the greater public interest. And for those of you who come to the Philippines coming with our guarantee that you'll be safe and sound.
It is the president's third day of an official visit to South Korea. He flies back to Manila tonight. Here today's global headlines. The death toll from the eruption of Guatemala's Fuego volcano is rising, and now more hazards threaten grieving residents. At least 69 people were killed after the volcano erupted Sunday. Officials say volcanic ash has already stretched across a 19-kilometer radius, and winds could carry the ash even further. This is drone video taken Monday showing the spread of the ash. Authorities have urged residents living near the volcano to evacuate. They've also warned some states to watch out for volcanic rocks and ash. The public is advised to avoid roads close to the volcano and make sure water is not contaminated. Disaster officials say 1.7 million people have been affected by the eruption. The flurry of international diplomacy continues for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The Kremlin has extended an official invitation to Kim to visit Russia. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov extended the invitation when he traveled to Pyongyang last week. The Eastern Economic Forum, to be held in September, was proposed as a possible option for Kim Jong-un's visit. The announcement comes ahead of an expected meeting between Kim and U.S. President Donald Trump. That historic face-off is set on June 12 in Singapore. Prices of goods continue to rise steadily as officials announce the inflation rate is at its highest in 5 years. But economic managers say there is no need to worry. Our senior correspondent Ina Andalong has that story.
Prices continue to rise faster according to the latest inflation rate. Inflation in May stood at 4.6%, higher than April's 4.5%, and the highest in more than 5 years. What does this mean for consumers? Well, officials say current prices, even at the rate they've been spiking, should still be manageable for households earning 10,000 pesos a month.
Again, depende sa lifestyle mo, no? But we're seeing na merong nagkakasya. But of course, we want a more comfortable. Hindi naman yan ang pangarap natin sa bawat Pilipino.
Delia can't help but wonder how that's even possible. She has 4 kids who depend on her earnings in this rice and egg stall. She says 20,000 pesos monthly is barely enough for them. That's why higher prices is always bad news.
10,000. Pagkain lamang ngayon, tsaka mga gamot-gamot, kulang pa.
Officials explain those who had a 10,000 peso monthly budget before May would only have to spend an additional 459 pesos to meet the same expenses. In discussing inflation, they even presented this table of how a Filipino with a 10,000 peso monthly budget usually spends his or her money. The table supposedly proves that a 10,000 peso monthly budget is enough for basic needs. But clearly, the term enough is relative. In this table, food is pegged at more than 2,400 pesos a month. Electricity, gas, and other fuels at 744 pesos. And house rent pegged at just more than 1,200 pesos. No allocation yet for other needs like maintenance medicines or miscellaneous expenses for school.
This is based on the average Filipino family na ang basihan namin is the Family Income and Expenditure Survey. So it's really based on a nationally representative survey.
Kulang nga, kasi kung sa amin nga, in-estimate ko sa amin, ang pamasahe, ang gasolina pa lang, 3,000 na isang buwan. Oh.
Saan kayo pupunta?
Dito sa palengke, tsaka sa bahay palengke simbahan. Oh. Tapos, ang pagkain mo, everyday ang ulam lang, 300 a day, di nasa 9,000 na yun.
Many consumers blame the train law for the rising prices, but officials are stressing it is not the culprit because the law only contributed 0.4% to inflation. Instead, they point to external factors like world oil prices, which are pulling up local pump rates, declining fish catch, causing fish prices to go up, and higher production costs of corn, which increase prices of feeds for livestock produce.
We want the price of tobacco to go up because it's bad for your health. We also want the price of sugary drinks to go up because it's also not so good for your health. So those two prices have really driven the inflation rate, but it's something we planned for. It's not an accident. The thing that we did not plan for was the increase in the price of fuel. Unfortunately, we could not foresee na there was going to be gulo sa Middle East, and that drove the price of fuel up.
The train law is supposed to be tempered by measures like fuel subsidies, but apparently the agency concerned has not yet asked for any funding for this because it's still finalizing guidelines on how the subsidy program is going to be implemented.
I don't know, but the Treasury is ready to certify that there's fund available. So whenever there's a request from the OTR, we will release the money. Okay, so but there's no request at the moment.
One thing is clear, for now, belt tightening seems to be the only way to go. Ina Andolong, CNN Philippines.
The budget chief sees inflation tapering off in the latter part of the year. Budget Secretary Ben Diokno is saying this is also why he sees no reason to adjust the country's full-year inflation targets.
We are not ruling out the possibility that there might still be some upward rise in inflation, but we're very sure that it's going to taper off towards the end of the year, and it will normalize by 2019. The year-to-date inflation is 4.1. Our target is 2 to 4%, so we're still within striking distance. So there's no need for us to adjust the inflation target.
A check on the weather now. Tropical depression Domeng is bringing rains to some parts of the country. The Weather Bureau, Pag-asa, says as of 3 p.m., Domeng was spotted 690 kilometers east of Guian in eastern Samar. It is packing maximum sustained winds of 45 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 60 kph. Domeng is forecast to move north-northwest at 14 kph. Doming not expected to make landfall, but Pag-asa warns of moderate to heavy rains over the western sections of Luzon and the Visayas and over Metro Manila this weekend. Doming is expected to exit the country Sunday morning. Moving on to another story, a police officer was killed in an encounter with armed communist rebels in Sagada in Mountain Province. The regional police says an officer was killed and 9 others were injured. Police has yet to report the number of dead and injured on the side of the New People's Army, the armed wing of the Communist Party of the Philippines. The firefight comes as representatives of the government and the rebels discuss the possible resumption of peace negotiations more than 6 months after President Duterte ended the talks. Both sides accused each other of launching attacks against the other. More news from the region. Cebuano paddlers recovered 89 kilos of plastic trash from a mangrove forest in Mactan Island. The paddlers were from Paddle for the Planet movement that conducted a surface cleanup at the 40-hectare mangrove forest over the weekend. The forest sits right in front of a proposed ecotourism and adventure destination. The Philippine National Police in Eastern Visayas has unveiled an image of Jesus Christ on the cross made of upcycled materials at their headquarters in Camp Cangleon in Palo, Leyte. The materials used were from items confiscated in police operations, as well as scraps and debris from disasters that hit the region. These include a rifle grenade used as nail on the feet of the image. Motorcycle mufflers adorn the image, while 365 confiscated firearms were used to form the body. Steel beams and gun magazines formed the cross. Metal sculptor Lucky Salayog also used a clock, axes, sawmill blades, a bolo, and other items in creating the image. Outgoing Regional Police Director Gilbert Cruz says the image is an innovative and holistic representation of the region's people who always face environmental challenges.